Well, hello there, everybody. How are you doing today? Before the show even gets going, let's talk about today's sponsor. There's only one, so it's okay. We're going to talk about Naked Warrior Recovery. I have been on a weight loss journey of losing. I got some extra padding, not gonna lie. I'm a bit of a chubby boy, but with William's supplement, with his fasting bundle, his super greens, and his Happy Berry energy drink with immune support supplement pills, I have honestly been shedding body fat like crazy. And the crazy awesome part is I've not really been like hungry. I mean, I kind of actually at times have to force myself to eat because it's like, I just feel I can go for hours upon hours without food. And if you're in it, just honestly, the energy drink alone is worth it for those who are going through life and need a pick me up, but a monster's a little too much to ride up and then crash down. It's about a cup of coffee of caffeine and good spectrum of vitamins. I honestly, there are times I do forget my cup of coffee because I just consider that my coffee. And I've noticed such huge benefits. My clarity is great. My memory is like amazing. And, so yeah, head on over to Naked Warrior Recovery, link in the description, and use at checkout J Bolton. Again, that's JBOLTON for 20% off. These are rare, by the way. He only gives like 10, maybe 15% off. So let's get into it.
Welcome to the Josh Bolton Show, where we dive into interesting and inspiring conversations. And now, your host, Josh Bolton.
Welcome, everybody. Today we have Steve Wiltshire. Awesome dude. We've been talking for like almost 20 minutes beforehand, and so much good knowledge in this guy. Steve, tell us about yourself and what you do.
Oh, gosh. How much time do you have, Josh? When I think about what I do, I always think about what I'm passionate about. And I'm passionate about getting people off the stands and in the court and playing their game, whatever that game is. Like, what do you want? What ideally do you want to manifest? What do you want to create? And, everybody's got their own path, like whether it's to get into ideal health or to attract an ideal relationship or leave a toxic job that isn't serving them, or to elevate their self-actualization, meaning become the greatest rendition of themselves. And I have this thing that I've done for about 20 years that when I get in my car, I pause for a minute and say, all right, you're going out in the marketplace, you're going out in the world, your role is to pull out the best in people. And I just get present with people. And that's why they always ask me, what do you do, dude? What do you do? Or what do you do? And I always just say, I help people get what they want, everything that they want. They go, what? What does that mean? I just help people get what they want. Well, how do you do it? Well, I do it in many different ways. I do it at seminars, and I do that in coaching calls, and I do that in Facebook Lives, and I have resources. I just help people get what they want, And so, that's my story.
Freaking awesome. So you, from what I could tell from looking at your website and some quick research, you're the probiotic guy in the body temple, like cleaning stuff, right?
Yeah. We're more of a service philanthropic movement at the core. That's what we're about. And then tons of resources, knowing that everybody is on a customized wellness path. And we can think of wellness path from two pathways. One being what's in your realm of control, and second being the supplementation, or I'll say treatments that support the ideal health that you want to manifest. And in all of that, mindset plays a part of it. It's much more than just the game of the body. Our mantra is take charge of your health, body, and mindset. So although, yes, we do have a probiotic, what people are really tapped into is our gut health. And so probiotic, pre-probiotic combo helps elevate the immune system. And that's why I never get sick. But it's the gut health that really transforms everything. The gut's just powerful. We'll talk more about that. So digestive enzymes and I can't believe I'm going to tell this story. I'm going to tell this story. Steve, you're really going to tell this story. So when I got sick, we'll talk more about that. I am originally, for the last 20 years, I've been a keynote speaker. I work with entrepreneurs and help entrepreneurs build extraordinary businesses. They hire us to build multi-million dollar businesses just to realize that, oh, wow, a healthier me and happier me and great relationships in my life. This all-inclusive thing is going to attract people to me, and I'm going to be in this elevated state to manifest. Well, circling back, when I got sick, I had all these seminars, and man, it was really, really tough on me. And I was taking this gut detox product, and here I am, like dressed up, ready to go to the airport. My seminar partner is going to pick me up, and I'm going to go into this seminar, this leadership seminar in Pittsburgh. And I am going through security, like, excuse the expression, but I'm like, I'm going to shit my pants, right? You've got to be kidding me. And I left my luggage. I ran to the bathroom, and all these severe products that, like, our gut detox manual, gut detox actually releases so slow and digests that the next day you're just eliminating this waste. And it looks like it should, where you aren't constipated and have diarrhea. And so what a way to start off this interview. But now that's the product that I constantly hear about, like people losing weight and naturally and not feeling bloated and daily elimination. And it's a phenomenal product. And then our digestive enzymes rock as well.
Yeah. So we were mentioning, you kind of touched on it. So did you have any troubles when you were younger before you started your health journey?
Never. No, but everything that I was doing was really not going to work long-term as I got older, meaning, and just starting from the beginning, I mean, everybody that's known me for the last 30 years would say, Steve models ideal health. And just kind of give all of you some backstory. Josh and I were having a conversation because he's 28. Excuse me. And that was the beginning of my health journey going back 30 years ago, that I just was like a skinny kid, wasn't really that athletic, had Duke brothers that were really athletic. My dad was super athletic. And, my dad kind of planted in my mind that, he just would joke and say, "You're my son. Like, why didn't you get the gene?" And I just would laugh it off. But deep down, like, it just really played with my limiting beliefs. And so I became more focused on work and school and friends, and became an entrepreneur at an early age, 17, 18. And I was going to these conventions, and I'm at this convention. I'm 27 years old. And I was telling Josh, because he's on this journey, and I said, we got to the end of this convention, and this keynote speaker, 4,500 people, just got quiet. She looked at the audience, wanted their full attention, like 2 minutes. And then she looked at everybody and she said, "I've got a question for you. What are you sick and tired of being sick and tired of?" And I wrote, "I hate my body." And I had 6 months before my reunion. I came back, hired a trainer. I was really embarrassed, uncomfortable going into this gym. I just did not like how I looked. I liked how I dressed. I was confident in my element, but I didn't like my skinny little body. And so it was the beginning of this journey, and I've been consistent for 30 years. And before I got sick, everything that I was doing, I thought was ideal. Everything that I learned from experts about radical meal plans, like, there's aggressive keto and then more gentle keto. I get that, but supplements with chemicals in them. I didn't know supplements had chemicals in them. I had no idea. So I just would hire people. I had no signs leading up to my illness. And one day I'm at a vegan restaurant with my 12-year-old son, and I'm like, "There's something wrong." I stood up and pulled my shirt up, and he's 12, and he's like, "Dude, what happened to your abs?" He's like, "Dad, your stomach is huge." I'm like, "Quinn, I don't know. Do I go to the hospital? I don't know what's the matter with me." And so I waited, and every time I ate, I mean, I was bloated, and I went into my doctor, I had lab tests, and they come back excellent. And I'm like, bullshit. Like, what is this about? You got to be kidding me. I wanted to know, like, what was the matter with me. And then I'm being somewhat diagnosed as, having prostate cancer or MS, just crazy stuff. Well, the good news is my son's mom had been on this journey for 2 years of healing herself from cancer. She's my great friend and partner in my entrepreneur plan for 20 years. And so, I mean, she had no chemo, no surgery, no radiation. And she was living the practices and philosophy of it's called the Hippocrates Wellness Institute in Southern Florida. And so she had reversed her cancer, was on that way, almost complete. So I just started on that journey, 100% plant-based, live sprouts, no chemicals. And after I shifted from doctors to what I'll call, they're disguised as entrepreneurs, they're disguised as naturopaths or like acupuncturists, but they're healers. I realized I had this serious case of candida. I had this bacteria that had overgrown in my body. Celiac disease is really what I was diagnosed with. And it took me 18 months, $22,000 for weeks. I would go in to get colonics, which is like a water. It's a process of eliminating waste in your colon. It was the only time I would have this relief and clarity for 2 or 3 days before I would have to go back. But I just want to say to everybody that as I'm on this rampage, get blood work done twice a year. And better to get it through a naturopath or an extensive lab work done through your doctor. And what I found is, my brand of 3 years with Body Temple and working with a lot of sick people is that tap in. When you don't feel right, something's up. And why is it that 14% of the population's walking around with parasites? You might be one of those 14%. Doctors don't even talk about it. I didn't even know anything about it and realized that I had like parasites. And where do you get them? Chemicals contained in processed food. Supplements actually can lead to parasites. Water, animal protein, even pass through sexual contact. So I know that I've been eating clean for about 8 years, and 2 years ago, I died once again, brain fog, and realized, man, do I got parasites? Don't know quite how I got them, but they're prevalent. Pretty interesting shit, isn't it?
It is. That's very interesting. So we talked about it earlier. I'm just going to ask it. How did you know it was an autoimmune problem go with all this testing and stuff you were doing?
Well, after I was diagnosed from these naturopaths, like Lynn had already been on this journey. Mm-hmm. I started to, I'm a strategist at my best. That's why I've helped a lot of entrepreneurs build $1 million businesses. And, I've helped heal people from prostate cancer and all sorts of, I have some pretty wild, I'll say, resources out there. And I've never really gone down this path, man, and in my interviews, but I'm connected with some incredible people, like proprietary products for CBDs. I've been blessed with the influence of some tremendous people in my life that have way more education than I do. And I'm a networker. I'm constantly leading people in service of whatever they want. That's what I do best, resources. So in all of that, I was always just like, why did I get sick? What was it? And when they looked at the supplements I was taking, I didn't know that supplements had chemicals in them. So I would say 70% came from these radical meal plans. Now, hey, when you got a new car, man, you can run the crap out of it for a while, get away with it. But when you're younger, you can run your body. But when you get to be 44, which is where I was when I won Mr. Oregon bodybuilding contest, I, I had been on this pathway for 17 years, these radical meal plans and, 5% body weight, I mean, people coming up to me all the time saying, dude, you're like just buffed. But it was, it changed from, I didn't like what I looked like to, I have so much going on in my life. My relief is going to the gym and getting in the sauna and getting on cardio. I had a lot of anxiety. I have a big life. And when I started to research that, I had no idea that, Josh, the gut is controlled by anxiety and depression. Now, I didn't have depression. I wrote an ebook on how I diminished anxiety, and I just put in depression without drugs. All of you are welcome to it. In fact, we're going to send you to some awesome complimentary resources because that's who we are. We're a philanthropic movement. We want to heal the world. So I would say 30% of my cause of my illness came from anxiety. So young children, I always like to mention this because I love youth. And I like parents that are aware that when your child says, Mommy, my tummy hurts, it means I have depression or anxiety, and I don't know how to deal with it internally. So my brief story is that I was 44 and I just happened to have a lot of friends saying, hey, when are you going to do a fitness show, dude? You got to do a bodybuilding show. Why not? And I was traveling around all over US and Canada doing seminars. I had way more clients. I had a team. I just had too much going on. I couldn't think about it. And then I thought one day, why not? Why not just do this for myself, be in the best possible shape and mindset? Because I'm a mindset coach at my best. And I want to share this with everybody. And I know I'm kind of on this rampage, but I want to say that it was the only thing in my life that I had done up until that point that I realized nobody had control over. Now, granted, it was a competition, but you realize that your health is completely up to you. Mm-hmm. I mean, your job, right? Your relationships, their moves affect your outcome. They affect your life. And I do value assessments with clients, right? Like, so they understand how they're wired. And I was like, why am I so happy through this 12-week competition? I didn't even care about winning. I just loved that I was showing up. We like when we have progress. I felt great. So I competed in these 2 shows. I won multiple categories, won Mr. Oregon. That doesn't matter. But leading up to it, that's where I hired all these experts. And then I just kept on this $800 meal plan. Now, I didn't do steroids, but I'm going to tell you, I had so much chemicals in my body. That's why I looked good. I hardly ate any food. I like that because I just like convenience. I like to rock and roll in life. Like I didn't pay attention to even produce, me bad. And then my gut quit. And I felt so naive. I didn't know 92% of the supplements in the market had chemicals. I didn't know that 87% were owned by a pharmaceutical drug company, disguised as a supplement company. I didn't know that combining food really didn't work. I didn't know that these radical meal plans, produced that they're not sustainable when we're getting older, like kidney stones and nutrient deficiencies. And who the heck would have thought like liver, thyroid, like shit. I felt like I was so stupid. And let's get real. The thing that made me passionate is that my health affected not my body, not just my body, my son's life, my team, my finances, my career. And we can't think like we're tuned in to think and manipulated in America, and especially North America, that we are. And what do I mean by that? I deserve what I want to eat. When I have a hard day, I deserve 5 drinks. I mean, we got to look at the longevity behind it.
And one thing I tell people, because they're, I mentioned it to you when we called another time. I used to be an avid alcoholic, and now it's just like people are like, oh, let's go get a drink. I'm like, nah, I'm good because I know myself. If I get about 2 in, there's no going back. I'm just gonna go till I pass out. So I'm like, I'll be the driver kind of thing. Give me like a Sprite or whatever. Wow. I'd rather have sugar than alcohol kind of thing. And it's one of those, nowadays, a lot of people are saying like, how did you do that? I'm like, I just listened to myself. I know if I cross the threshold, there's no going back. So why even try like just touching it?
Brother, this is a really great addition in this conversation, Josh, because I remember reading this book. I haven't talked about this in any of my podcasts.
There we go. First for a lot today.
What was it? It was so long ago, and it was called The Powerful Addict, or it was a story about and principles around people that are extreme and excessive. I'm one of those.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, and I'll talk more about this in a little bit, but I just could never have one drink. I couldn't have one of anything.
Right.
And the mindset, when we are shifting our poor habits, like the mantra for Body Temple is make a decision you're ready for change. Second, create your ideal customized wellness plan, which we do with people. And third, shift your poor habits to ideal habits and notice your triggers. But what you did so well is you were able to notice what's going on in your body, which is the serotonin and the dopamine that says, oh, I'm going to go hang out with friends. That was me. And I would tell myself I was going to drink. And then I would show up and drink. And I'm like, shit, what's going on, man? I'm losing my power. This is crazy. Do I have an alcohol problem? Because so it didn't matter. We talk about this in the Kickstart program, by the way, complimentary, bodytemplekickstart.com, bodytemplekickstart.com.
It's all going to be
when we
in
talk
the description
about that
too.
third section, that brother, the dopamine is so strong. And when you decide you're ready for change, up until that point, it was okay. That's when all the shit happens. That's when the triggers start to happen. And so you have to retrain your brain. So we talk about how we retrain our brain and how to be gentle and loving with ourselves through the process. There's a whole process around that. But yeah, it's super crazy. I teach clients how to write affirmations, and I just would read them every day and every night. And I remember those days, it was, I don't meet friends in environments that promote alcohol. I don't meet friends in environments that promote alcohol. And I had a list. I can meet people during the day because I never drank during the day. The dopamine was a thing. I worked all the time, and it was like, wow, when I got to go see friends and got to have a really great meal and have a couple cocktails and listen to the music. So it wasn't just the alcohol. It was the memory of the experience that elevated that thirst, where your mouth would start to water because your mind would think a thought and make it real. Isn't that crazy?
It is. And that's one thing I can touch on is, we mentioned to you earlier how I was deadlifting like 350, a ton of sets and reps.
Yeah.
I got addicted to it, and I realized I was a powerful entity. It wasn't like, I don't look like you, let's put it that way, but I knew I could lift, and
you're
it was
going there.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a good addiction. Like how I feel when I get out of the sauna, or when I don't want to go to the gym. FYI, for those of you that whatever, and it's never about the gym. It's like finding all of you that are listening, like finding your ideal wellness regimens. And that falls under fitness. And for some of you, it needs to be light in the beginning. You just start to stretch and go for walks, or, doing ab work. You got to start off gentle. But I'm constantly detoxing. That's why it's the anti-aging secret. I talk to people all the time. I'm in a sauna 5 days a week. And I do it, especially like in the late afternoon or early evening, because sometimes I'm working late. I got to come back and write for 3 hours. And it's the perfect reboot. But what happens, that's a good example of good extreme. Mm-hmm. When we have those of you that have extreme issues and you judge yourself and you don't trust yourself, well, hey, it goes both ways. It goes true north and it goes full ass south. And so when you start to create these new habits, you won't believe how, I'm going to say, what a blessing you become to the world.
Yes. And the thing I was leading in with the lifting and all that, I used to detox all the time, 20 minutes in the sauna. Sometimes I get a little crazy, do it 20 minutes before the workout 20 minutes after, but I was drinking enough water to pee a bark off a tree. But that was the biggest one. This is where I want to eventually get back to that. I was eating whatever the hell I could get my hands on. So it was, I needed calories as I thought I needed calories. That was my biggest problem. And I was eating all the
I get
processed
it.
food I could get. And I noticed my gut, kind of like yours, just gave out. But
Mm,
my mom, being the health lady that she is, she was like,
nice.
you might want to ease up on those chemicals.
Mm,
And that's when I started looking up into probiotics and all that. So
yeah.
I want to say, before we go down the crazy train and go completely miss our goal with this, tell
Loving
us
it.
more about your probiotics and what Body Temple is for
Well,
that.
can we talk a little bit more about the gut since you
Absolutely.
brought it
Yeah, let's
up?
do that.
And I especially like talking to the youth about the gut. Like, I'll find myself like at my best. I mean, I know I can get away with probably most anything that I wanted to do anymore, but I constantly remember those 18 months. I don't ever want to go back there again. Like when you were talking about extreme, I mean, even if believe me, I'm not like I'm at 90% most of the time, but there'll be occasion where I'll have one cookie and I just can't have one. There's three more following. And I
Right.
just get that about myself. So that is um, why, those of you that are extreme, just notice you're going to have these triggers. And man, and when I sabotage, I like big sabotage. So I love to be
Yes.
an example and show people what that's all about. But I'm going to give you a few shocking statistics. 68% of the bar coded food products sold in the US contain added sweeteners, and they are toxic. There are
Mhm.
sweeteners that are super good for you. In fact, when you register for the complimentary gift, bodytemplekickstart.com, which means it's a called 15-day Kickstart Detox program, but it's really about a life. It's really about your life. It's about this consistency of being just aware of what you put in your body. You're going to see in the manual that we have, there are all these incredible recipes, even like desserts that have no sugar in them. They taste like it, some essential oil, some these really great sweeteners, and like even a chocolate, like a guilt-free, fudge recipe. It's incredible. And there's 56 different names for sugar on labels. They're just disguised as these crazy names. Well, the gut is the engine of our body. And studies show that 90% of all disease can be traced back below the waist. It's your gut microbiome. And millions of human beings are experiencing leaky gut syndrome. And roughly 90% of all human beings are dealing with some aspect of leaky gut. And that just means that you have these little tears or small holes in the gut lining, which allow these tiny particles and chemicals to just stream into your bloodstream. And I remember thinking, what's the cause of what I have? Like, I was curious about that. Like, how does this happen? What were the decisions that I was making? And I was just totally buying into these experts. And now I'm going back a while, right? Like, so it's so much information on the internet that you can just buy into it. Like, or where's your source coming from? So my accountability is like all these sick people I talk to, and I don't want what they have. Like, I'm constantly just, oh my God, I can't imagine what they must be feeling like dealing with this. And when you study US, it's one of the sickest countries per capita. We've got like more people on pharmaceutical drugs than any other country in the world per capita.
Mhm.
And and we're trained that way. We're trained to see doctors as, most people. I mean, just the pandemic showed just the sheep. At the end of the day, like, we've got to be our own alliance. And we have this kind of thinking like, a dessert have the drink. It's the weekend, man. It's been a tough day. So I'm going to go through the drive-through and I'm going to get my milkshake and donut. Well, habits when the body becomes the mind. And even if you think your health is a 9 on a scale of 1 to 10, there are all these toxins and chemicals that are in our food, in our water. They're even in fish. They find some, if you don't have a really good fish source, they're floating around. And when you're taking a shower, I'm like about, even in the gut detox, you're going to learn about high-end water. Like, you're going to learn about water that really is safe to drink. And your body contains mainly water. And we need to create our own reality. When I think about my son, he's like, I mean, the guy is like got 4 12-hour shifts. He does very successful. He's 23. He's got 3 bands. He can go all damn day. I mean, it's just amazing. He'll get up at 5:30 and he'll go all day, and then he'll go to band practice and then go hang out with his girlfriend. Why? He's so freaking healthy. Sprouts. You buy produce. It's really not live. It's dead. We show people how to grow their own sprouts. I grow my own wheatgrass. I grow my own pea sprouts. I mean, after this, I'm going to go plant my 2 trays. 10 minutes. It's just like super easy. But when you make gut detoxing consistent health practice, you're going to naturally release weight. You're going to increase your energy. You're going to elevate your clarity. I don't know why I feel so bold on this call, but I kind of do. You're going to wipe your butt the next day and see nothing on your toilet paper. You're going to look and think, how in the hell did I I am so thin, or I am like, how did I didn't eat that much yesterday. How did I eliminate all that waste? And that's when you noticed you just got elevated clarity, positivity, alkaline spirit. And so that's what this whole Kickstart, and catchy name, 15-day Kickstart Gut Detox Plan. But it's really about making detoxing a part of your life. Oh, yeah. BodyTempleKickstart.com.
Everyone do it. I'm going to sign up after this. So while you're planting the seeds, I'm going to be signing up.
I missed that. Say again.
I said, while you're planting your seeds, I'm going to go sign up.
Yeah, right on, brother. Right on. I'll show you how to sprout. I'll send you some seeds. Hey. I'll get you going.
There we go. That's interesting. So you mentioned earlier about fasting. I've heard so many bodybuilders resent it. Do you fast?
Oh yeah. I have a couple of coaches that I'm really learning a lot from, and I'm more of an intermittent fasting. But when I go back to like healing, my greatest discipline was only eating grapefruit for 12 weeks. Oh my God, it just about killed me. I remember just eating grapefruit. I went from 220 to 170 pounds in 5 weeks. But that is just a great example that, we don't need all these friggin' expensive fads. I mean, fasting is like if you start to study, you go to YouTube and you start to study all of these case studies with rats, like rats that lived way longer, that they actually just taught and how to fast. Like that's all they had was water. Like when you start to educate yourself, like I know that, when I think of Lynn being on this journey of healing herself, and then 2 weeks before COVID, it came back. Now she got off target. She ended up with 2 parents with dementia. She was in a relationship with somebody that, she had healed herself and then kind of went off track. And she's got genetic problems. What's that mean? On her mom's side, some of you got genetics. It's the card you've been dealt with. Mm-hmm. And her mom has 8 siblings that died of cancer. She hasn't. She's always been pretty healthy. But Lynn has the gene. Lynn lost her sister at 21. Lynn was 12. It's just something that when you've got that gene or you've got heart disease, you got to get damn serious. You want to be narrow unless you want to live a life of pain and suffering. This is why your blood work and your genetic work, and you don't get that from blood work, just FYI, like you got to go to an organization like Boston Diagnostics or that can actually test your genetics. And when you see what that is, like my dad died at 55 and his dad died at 55. Why? Bad cholesterol. You look at my cholesterol, it looks damn good, but I have bad cholesterol. But why does my bad cholesterol that everybody has look great? Because I'm just 10 minutes on a cardio machine 7 days a week. I know the exact products to take. I know exactly what to eat. That's why I don't have heart disease. That's why I have circulation. So in that, why am I bold? Because I'm bold on your behalf. And so in the mix of all of it, this is really a big part of like when your digestion can be so busy that it's like saying, I can't believe I have this download. It's exactly what happened in Braveheart. Braveheart, okay. They were so dialed in the Scottish that they got the, God, I can't even remember who the other party was, geez, but they had them so distracted that small army fought the shit out of that big army, and they started to run. When you let your body, just your digestion, rest, it fights off everything that's trying to evade. That's what you want. And that's why fasting is so good. And the first day, you feel a little bit tired. Second day, a little more tired. Third day, you're like pumped up. You're energized. That's why I loved the show. Like, I mean, doing my bodybuilding show. I was just, food deprived when I got closer to like 5 weeks before the show, but I couldn't even go to sleep. I had so much energy. I was so pumped. I closed so many clients during that 12 weeks. Like, my clients are saying my coaching was over the top. Like, that's the flip side. Sorry about the rampage, man, but I'm passionate about it.
It's all good. It's all good. Yeah. I've kind of been indirectly fasting, and it's just one of those, I've just noticed, like if I'm hungry, I'll eat like some hard-boiled eggs, some mozzarella string cheese, and I'm good for another 16 hours.
Yeah, we got to get rid of the cheese, brother. I'm going to help you.
Oh, damn. That's like my kryptonite.
I know. You know what? But I can show you imitation. I can show you, better said, things like it. Like, cheese hangs out in the gut for about 30 days before it digests. But there is goat milk.
Okay.
It's like different. And then you can actually find like people that love pasta, there's actually like zucchini pasta that tastes good. And that's why, see, what's so hard is that we're not taught any of this. When you see these vegan recipes in the Kickstart Detox manual and you eat them, oh my God, we're just not taught that. And it's not mainstream because they want you buying all their shit. I never swear this much. I can't believe. I don't know what you're pulling out of me, dude. You're like little Joe Rogan. You are, but like, damn, like that's just not out there. And it's really because they want you to buy their stuff. And then there's so much political drama around it. There is. I just can't even tell you. Media around it. It's like.
Just a side question on vegan stuff for you.
Yeah.
I did it once to make my vegan friend happy. Impossible meat or burgers. What do you think on it?
I'm going to always go back to that. When we're sick, we go narrow. Or my favorite thing to say is that when you don't feel right and you get your blood work back and it's normal, praise God, man. Praise God.
Yeah.
You're getting sick. And that's when you go narrow as well. But when you're not, I had 4 experts, and the one that really set me up was the last one from Dallas.
Okay.
And looked at my hormones and looked at like what was going on. And he did get me on a couple of pharmaceutical drugs. My had some things, my adrenals were blown out. Like, he was phenomenal, but he said, your blood, you let your body doesn't want carbs. Like quinoa is really not a carb, but people think it is, but it's great. It's like a grain. It's just super amazing. But he's like, your body likes protein. And so although most of my protein for the last 3 years has been mainly vegetation, I occasionally will have some salmon from a great source. Right. I'll occasionally have some chicken. And so, but I can tell it doesn't bother me. There's never any bloating. The elimination is fine. So absolutely, the thing is, know your body, know thyself. It's exactly what got you to this podcast. It's exactly what got you out of this job. And part of it is just getting educated. And then part of it is like noticing how you feel with it. Like just when you knew it was time to give up alcohol. Oh, yeah.
Well, I was also pretty much drinking to kill myself. So the having 2-3 day hangovers
so real,
is like,
brother.
I was just like, yeah, this is not fun anymore. But the only reason I bring up the impossible meat and burgers is a lot of vegans told it, but I'm like, there's so much.
Well, vegan can be really shitty food.
Oh yeah.
I mean, vegan it can be really shitty food. It's the ideal kind of vegan that doesn't have toxins, that is mainly produce. And it's interesting what they can do with it. So you want to know what's in it. We've got a guide called Toxic Ingredients and Chemicals to Avoid. And that's all part of that Kickstart program, and even what we call the body temple shopping list. And so we make it really easy for people to start somewhere. And when you start there and you realize, I really, really like it, it's pretty incredible. That's our intent. Our intent is, like I said earlier, is to get people off the stands, in the court, playing life out, especially with their health to their greatest capacity. And the problem is most people don't know how. What you're talking about is that there's so much information and people don't know where to start. They're overloaded. And if education worked anyway, everybody would be successful. Everybody would be healthy. So why doesn't it work? A confused mind says no. Tony Robbins calls it the SSS program. When we have enough contrast, love Esther Hicks, by the way, Abraham Hicks, man, this is so powerful. It's like when we are receptive to contrast, our lives change. What's that mean? Wanted and unwanted conditions. Instead of saying, F me, can't believe this happened to me, you're like, I wonder why this is happening to me. Interesting. What's it telling me I don't want? Interesting. You're witnessing it from a distance. And when you see things that you aspire for, it's what you do want. We can look at someone that might have something that they want, that we want. It might be the body that we want, or the job that we want, or the marriage that we want. We either aspire to that or we are jealous. Both are the same. One's healthy and one's not. You basically want the state they're in. You want to know, how did they get to this elevated state? Like you just admire Joe Rogan. It's like, man, I want to know everything about him. I was listening to my son last night, and we were in the car, and he was telling me about this new footage that came out with the Beatles that him and his bands are studying, how like this, like 9 hours that they spent, like this documentary on how this song came to fruition and the energy behind it. Well, what gets us in the state that we're in is called our story. That's the middle part. You have these limiting beliefs. They often play out in your body, not even your mind. There, you have a feeling that you get, like you're a mood, and you're like, why am I in this mood? And it's because something triggered it. And you tell yourself, I'll always be fat. I'll never be loved. I am never successful in relationships. I always lose my job. I'm not able to do that. All that stuff is just not true, but you make it true. What changes all of that? The strategy. The strategy changes the story, and it gets you in that state where you're unstoppable. So it's the same process that I've used in my entrepreneur brand with these coaches that have helped these entrepreneurs build thriving businesses. We just translated that into health and that same mindset capacity. And so we operate from two paths, like I talked about earlier. What's in my realm of control, and what treatment or supplements going to help me get to what I want. And that's the exciting part. It's really exciting. And that's where we talked about that whole mindset piece. The body has to be trained. It's called the primal mind. Your body's like, I want my sugar. I want my alcohol. I'm so pissed off at you. Like, why did you cut me off? Man, that's your primal mind. It's like a 3-year-old. It's the frontal lobe, the 40% of the brain that's so designed by a creator. Like, that's the same thing as free will. When people say God gave us free will, what do you think that frontal lobe is? It's slow, it's methodical, it's wise. Experts say that if we could translate that into megabytes, Josh, it'd be 1 trillion megabytes, and most human beings are operating from 2,000. That just sucks. So like we have three kinds of clients that come to us: clients who are ready to up their game and take their health to the next level, clients who are stuck, immobilized, and don't know where to start, and then clients who are experiencing these health challenges or dealing with severe conditions and they need to narrow their focus. And so most experts tell people what to do. That's not coaching. You got to get to their pain and their vision and what they're sick and tired of, and then what they deep down want, and then help them customize a plan. And it's like one step at a time. It takes months. Enjoying the journey, staying in process. It's fun stuff. And we do it through affirmations. We help them like retrain their brain. It's like we create these great meal plans and shopping lists and all sorts of stuff. But wow, when they can retrain their brain, they become unstoppable, not with their health, just their health, but every area of their life. Their relationships get better. Their employers notice it. They get more creative. They just become more confident and esteemed. It's fun stuff. I love it.
Oh, yeah. And especially with the affirmations, that was a huge one for me. What made me pivot, because I would always say, oh, I'm not this. Oh, I'm this. Very limiting belief. I'll never be rich. And I started, the March 2020 crash is what piqued my interest. Like, why are people dancing in the street like it's the best thing since sex, and others are crying like Beelzebub in a room kind of thing? I'm like, why is that guy happy and this one's terrified? Started me on this whole journey, hence where I am. But I've been talking to big heavy hitters in trading. I actually joined one of his trading Zoom calls recently. His name's Ken Roberts. He's worth $90 million. And it was one of those unfair. He told me, I said, oh, just 90 million kind of thing. He's like, actually with inflation and the housing bubble, he's like, I might be $1 billion now. I'm like, you don't know? Like, he's like, it's gotten to the point where he's like, I don't care about money anymore. I'm like, well, yeah, it's nice when you're in that situation. He's like, oh no, dude, once you follow my rules and how my system works, he's like, 50K is going to be like, that's nice. I could have made more though. And that's where I'm like,
what I think is interesting about what you're saying, that is the umbrella of all of it,
right?
Is that you're starting to live your highest excitement. And so when we think about how transformation happens, who talks about it? Like, what creates transformation? Environments. You can't just say, how did we get out of alcohol? We just stopped going to environments for a while that didn't promote alcohol, right? How do people get in shape? They got to have somewhere that they go, a place that they go to. They got to have a regiment behind that, right? And just like how you were trained, or better said, guided to trading, investing, something inspired you, a spark happened. Well, I know by far the greatest thing that I have done with all clients, entrepreneurs, and wellness is I say, nobody gets your morning but you. When you have this experience where you have created very clear understanding of what you want with your health, your relationships, your career and finances, and your, what did I forget? My God, your faith. When you are clear about that and you've written affirmations and you start to train your brain, this is where the esoteric world shows up. All the hosts of heaven show up. Ideal situations show up. Ideal people show up. It's not by chance that you guys are listening to this podcast and resonating with it, or even realizing, man, I'm ready for change. It's because we can live in a linear world and we get a linear result, or we can live in a world of greater sense of understanding that we're being guided every moment when we slow down and tap into that still small voice. I don't care if you call it a creator or Jesus or Buddha or higher self or your inner guidance system. You have something that is one step ahead of you when you tap in. And we're in this like world of over content and noise and stopping down. Nobody gets my fucking morning, excuse me, but me. And that's my opportunity to like tap into that guidance. And I can tell you, that's how I got here. I sometimes look at like, how in the world did I write 100 curriculums? How did I write 2 books? How did I just start off with this? Like, I'm not a scientific person. I've always hired experts. How did I surround myself with all these influential people? And it's because like, I mean, you pulled that out of me, brother, because when you talked about Ken and trading, it just, based on that conversation we had before this podcast, it just like landed for me. It was like, wow, I could hear it in your frequency, not just your voice, not just your energy, but your frequency. Like, oh, wow. And I know where you're at with finances and your game to create wealth and get your passion in the world. But this is where all of it starts to change, because you start your day with nobody around. I mean, yesterday I had to get up at 4:30. And so my 50-minute morning ritual went to 20 minutes. All right, that works, whatever. Might just like revisit it in the afternoon, which I didn't. But I'm just saying that once you have that in place, and that's like all part of this wellness plan, we have this process called Ideal Wellness Plan, and we take clients through a couple of sessions and all these exercises. And then we break it down into these 5 sections. And one of those sections, the middle section, is just a small part of it, is that morning ritual and how that becomes their memory, because they wrote it at a time. It's like, I have a curriculum called Design a Life and Business Plan for Entrepreneurs. And I work with all my clients right now, and they start their year very clear. Where are you headed personally? What are your 2 outcomes that you want? And what are the 2 professional outcomes you want? And that becomes clear. And then the action plan with that is what manifests it. It's super fun. But the morning ritual, nothing like it.
It's truly key. And that's what the last like 2 weeks that I was telling you earlier, how I've lost so much body fat, is I just wake up, I do my thing, I do a couple push-ups. I try to go for 100, depending on the time frame when I wake up. I don't succeed. But yeah, it's just drinking my healthy smoothies, getting the healthy energy drink in. And yeah, and then I go get to my site, whatever it is, and I'm just like, I'm pumped. It's like, I sit there sometimes and people are like, why?
How does that change your life? Think about that. Giving yourself permission to create this experience with yourself.
Oh, I love it. I don't want to go back to the miserable, I need like 3 cups of coffee to get through the day. I sometimes forget my coffee and I'm actually more energetic.
Man, God, look what an example you've been. I love about you, Josh, is you're so raw and authentic and real. And like, it reminds me of Gabrielle Bernstein. She's from New York. She's called the Soul Junkie. She was an addict. She's written all these best-selling books. And everyone listening, like, I want you to know you matter. You're here for a reason. You had the ability to, on a soul level, manifest into the human experience. You are here for a reason. And then to tap into that elevated state of consciousness where you become a cognizant being, to listen to the guidance that actually creates the pathway for you. Like, how in the world could this addict, Gabrielle Bernstein, write all of these best-selling books? She took the very dark thing and turned it around to light. And then she's impacted the world. And she don't care what anybody thinks. She talks about her shit, how she got here. But the beautiful part is that when you just tap into that environment every day, and like, what is real meditation? I mean, yeah, elementary meditations, get quiet for 15 minutes, tap into your, breathing. But real meditation is doing the thing that you love to do, man. Hell, if you love singing, you rap, and you realize you lose track of time, or you like hiking, that's your thing, or you like running, that's your thing, or you like, whatever that thing is that you love to do that is healthy for you, that is meditation.
I went to a martial arts event and there was a Buddhist monk there, and he was talking. They paid all this money for the monk to talk to them, to help the temple out and all that. And I'm like, okay. And it was one of those. I was like 8 feet off. I have pretty good hearing, so I'm trying to listen at a distance next to an ocean. And that's the one thing he said. He's like, true meditation is knowing what you're doing now and why you're doing it. And they're like, but isn't it the lotus position? He's like, that's the higher level. You're trying to get deeper. But he's like, a true meditation is when you're walking and you notice your heart beating, you're breathing, you're thinking about whatever later on. He's like, that's true meditation, because then you can stop the thinking and move to something else. And I'm like, that's where then I got in trouble with the
I love that.
guys.
What a valuable message. Like right now, all of you, if you just get still, you can feel the air on your exposed skin. And that's what Josh is talking about. Yeah. Well, can we tell him more about the Kickstart program, and then we'll just kind of wrap it up? Yeah. Basically the Kickstart program, after you register, you will get an autoresponder and a text with the link to the 43-minute video. And we're going to map this 15-day Kickstart program out. And you're going to realize that there are 3 plans. Yeah. Like the basic plan, which means I'm just going to stretch myself for 15 days, or the progressive plan, which means we just give you the template. Like, okay, this is, I want to stretch myself and really go for it. And then the ideal plan for those of you that really want to go the extra mile, or you're sick and you're not doing well and you really want to go for it for the 15 days. And it might just make sense that, all right, I'm going to put this off for 2 weeks or, 2 months. But in reality, it's like just to go with the basic plan, because the whole idea is that you start to acclimate this in your lifestyle. And what's so cool is we have a community online called Body Temple. And when you register, you will get a link to join the online community. And we have Facebook Lives, and we've got resource libraries, and we've got all sorts of coaches that are answering questions. It's our philanthropic movement. And our coaches, we pay to reach out to welcome everybody to the Body Temple movement. So you're going to get a text or a call, and they're going to welcome you to the Body Temple movement. And they're going to be here to answer your questions for the Kickstart Detox Plan. And so anything goes. And what's great is they'll find your resource. If you're dealing with something or you want to learn something, we just have tons of resources. So look forward to that. Our gift to you, bodytemplekickstart.com. And Josh will have it in the show notes as well.
100%. Love it. Yeah. I'm, like I said, when you go playing your sprouts, I'm going to go signing up. So everyone else can do that too.
You rock, brother. Well, hey.
Absolute honor and pleasure, Steve. It's
been such an awesome interview. Yeah. I'm fascinated what you pulled out of me during this conversation, kind of the John the Baptist side of me. I don't usually show up very often, but I'm a stand for human beings living a life of vitality. And I know personally, when I look at people that are even my age or younger, or, get aging and they don't have any vitality, I don't even want to be here. And I'd rather just find a way to go. And this pathway, nothing like it. Imagine 25 and getting to 45 and feeling 25, and then getting to 65 and feeling 45, and getting to 85 and having vitality, and, just living in the moment and making choices that are going to support the life that you want to live in 20 years. Mm-hmm. That's what it's all about.
It really is. Well, congratulations. You made it to the end. You're an awesome person. Not many make it here. So, being the awesome person that you are, can you do me one more awesome favor? Can you rate and review this on whatever podcast services you're using? If you do it on Apple and you leave an actual written review, I have a thing on my website. I will take your written review and post it for all to see. Congratulations, you're permanently sealed on my site. Otherwise, I am trying to do YouTube more and live streaming. I will try to put as many of the YouTube links in the description of the show as I can. So give your boy some extra help over on YouTube. Watch my videos. I just mute it and change the channel, change the window or something. But yeah, that's it. Thank you for being awesome, and see you next time.